Thank you so much. I want to read a quote here that is very familiar to everyone now because it's been repeated over and over in the last several days. And it's from Chuck Schumer. Of course, he's the Democrat leader on the Senate side. He stood on the steps of the United States Supreme Court and he exclaimed to a crowd, to their applause, and to all the television cameras, and it now is a quote that lives in infamy. "I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind," he said, "and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions." The leader of the Democrats in the Senate stood on the steps of the United States Supreme Court and threatened the justices by name. Now, what's happening? What's happening now? Well, people are heeding that advice. There was a leaked opinion, an unprecedented, terribly tragic event there that will help harm the institution permanently of the Supreme Court. Some clerk, we suspect, I think it's one of the liberal law clerks for one of the liberal justices, the three justices on that court committed to that ideology. Somebody leaked the draft opinion, and it has caused a whirlwind. And so now all of these protesters are criminals. They're not really protesters, they're criminals, because this is blatantly against the black letter of federal law. 18 U.S.C. 1507 openly, makes this a crime. You can't protest at the home of a judge to try to influence their opinion, and yet that's exactly what's happening. As we speak right now, there are liberal activists on the lawns of the justices of the Supreme Court, the conservative justices. And you know what? Their lives are in danger, because we now know just a few days ago a would-be assassin was apprehended on the lawn of Justice Kavanaugh. He was home with his wife and his two young daughters. This is a dangerous thing, and this is what is wrought when so-called leaders tell the American people to get into the faces of their political opponents, to release the whirlwind. You won't know what hit you and all the rest. That's what's happening right now. So what are Republicans doing about it? What's Congress doing about it? Nothing at all. The Democrat majority won't even acknowledge that this is a problem. In fact, on this floor last night, we had 27 of the Democrats in this House voted against a simple bill, a measure that would have provided security and protection for the innocent children of these justices. They voted against that. It's unbelievable. People back home ask me, my constituents say, what are they thinking? What in the world is going on? Do they want people to be harmed? Look, I think the motive is they want to send a message to the radical left that we like you violating the law. We want you on the lawns of conservative judges. We want you to try to intimidate them into changing their opinions because they may overturn Roe, or they may enact interpret the Constitution in a way that the radical left disagrees with. This is a tinderbox. This is a dangerous time in the country. And the so-called leaders here are encouraging and inflaming this. Heaven forbid if someone actually gets hurt. We filed a resolution here within a few days of that leak last month. 45 members joined me in that resolution. We called upon the Department of Justice to enforce 18 U.S.C. 1507, to enforce the law that makes it a crime to picket or parade to influence a judge. And you know what? Crickets. The Department of Justice hasn't done anything. Can you imagine if a threat was made to one of the liberal justices? Can you imagine the outcry? The mainstream media and the Democrats here, the radical left, they would be demanding action. But if it's a conservative judge, hey, fair game apparently. It's open season on conservative judges. That's what we have now. We also filed last month the Leaker Accountability Act. It would make it a crime to knowingly share confidential information for the Supreme Court. I authored that legislation. I think it ought to be punishable by a fine or up to 5 years in imprisonment. We have to send a message. This behavior, the leak, the violence that has ensued because of it is unacceptable. And the idea, again, that our colleagues would vote against protection for the children of these judges is, to me, unconscionable and an unforgivable vote. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to yield next to my good friend from the state of California, Mr. LaMalfa.